Our mission begins on a Terran world filled with life, ready to be harvested. We have to make everything by hand. We have to harvest everything by hand. Our first goal is to stop doing robotic bitch work and make some robotic bitches to do some work. To accomplish this, we need to complete research, which will unlock new buildings. To do research requires spending resources. I got tired of hand mining pretty fast, so I built a miner that can do it for me. I did not want to power it by cranking its handle, so I built a wind power turbine to supply power for me. I didn't want to smelt metal anymore, so I built a furnace to handle that. This whole game is about building stuff to put me out of the job. It is an ode to laziness and unemployment. Well, now I have to build more power now that I have more stuff doing work for me. That will also require that I get more buildings to harvest more stuff for me. I guess I will have to work a while more. My mecha requires power regularly, so we have to deforest the beautiful planet to survive. It's me or the planet. I choose me. Finally, we get some factories to do the heavy lifting for me. They can build all the small parts needed for buildings. They can even construct entire new buildings for us. We are going to need to build a ton of conveyor belts to carry resources to feed the factories. So I put them to work building those. My next goal is to stop building all the basic parts and to stop building factories. To do this, I build all the basic parts and the factories needed to spit these out. Of course, I now need more power now that I have more factories running. Time to turn our continent into a wind farm. Our first big goal is achieved. A factory that builds factories so I don't have to build factories anymore. But I am not alone on this planet. It seems I am competing for the laziness awards against an unfeeling AI opponent known as the Dark Fog. We will have to defend ourselves as they dislike competition for natural resources. Well, this creates more work for me to do. All I have to do is stomp them off this world and then I can win, right? Oh, I was wrong. They are in outer space too. All right, let's get the war machine rolling hot. First up is research. We need to produce blue glowing cubes in one research facility to be consumed in another research facility. I upgrade the mecha to be less lazy and devour more trees. Then it's time to automate science, feeding itself crunchy green circuit boards and soft metal magnets. But our science is going too slow. It's time to stack the facilities on top of themselves for faster production. I am getting tired of manually chopping down trees. Time to make some explosives and put them in my engine ass. They produce a ton more power. I know the Dark Fog will be attacking soon. So to prepare for this, I build some turrets to shoot them down. We will need a lot more than this if I want to boot them off of my planet. I need a lot more land for oil production, and red science cubes are coming up. That means a whole lot more buildings I have to automate and oil to produce and store. I upgrade our wind farm again, taking up an entire continent for it. As I expand the factory, I start to make use of blueprints to lay down chunks of factory at a time. This will allow us to explode our production of resources. So here is a snapshot of the factory so far. We have nearly everything automated in production, setting us up to expand however we want. The next steps are oil production and red science. This will get us closer to the first big milestone of the game, planetary logistics stations. You saw me clearing out land before to make room for our factories. This is no longer an issue. I have made a massive factory to produce foundation. This flattens the land and gives us tons of workable space. We have conquered the land now with foundations, so now it's time to exploit it by automating oil production facilities for red science. Here is our oil extraction and production site. Oil produces hydrogen and refined oil, so it's important to be able to cleanly sort both without producing belt spaghetti. This splitter layout will distribute raw oil and allow the refineries to deposit the hydrogen and refined oil into separate storage facilities. I like the look of this, very clean and compact and able to hold a lot. With hydrogen being produced from oil and from energetic graphite being produced from coal, that enables us to produce red science and get into that entire tech tree. We are one step closer to the planetary logistics station that will eliminate us running long belts. In order to get the planetary logistics station, we will need silicon and titanium for the yellow science. Those are found on a distant planet on our solar system. Lift off, woohoo! It's a minute-long flight to the next planet, which is not bad. NASA, eat your heart out. And we have landed. I love getting to the other planets. It feels like such an accomplishment. So first thing is to set up mining operations and power. Silicon is important for producing processors. Titanium is important for all of our structural components. Both are needed for the Planetary Logistics Station, or PLS. The last thing to do is set up some defenses so the dark fog can't walk right in and blow all my hard work up. Then it is time to leave the planet and return home. It feels good to set up the silicon and titanium extraction. They will be needed. Mission accomplished. So now that it's set up, I have to complete a few trips to get the titanium and silicon needed for processors and titanium crystals. I will show you the setup for that. We will need a big portion of land to set up the PLS chain. This is going to be so worth it. The ability to ditch conveyor belts is a huge win. First, I secure some more resources and smelt them to be usable. Then I connect up the resources. Using the battlefield analysis base to get extra construction drones, I build out the main bus. Each belt connects to a splitter with one height configuration. This allows us to distribute resources on the top while splitting resources through the bottom to factories. This is the ultimate main bus design I stole from Nileus. Check him out on YouTube. Finally, we break into chemical plants for sulfuric acid. This will be used to make the titanium we need for the PLS. They function just like an assembler. No special handling for fluids needed, unlike Minecraft and Factorio. Alright, this is it. This whole production chain is what is needed to produce the Planetary Logistics Station. This will revolutionize our planet. We will use spaceships to ferry products across the planet. Here is what my planet looks like now. We have come such a long way from hand harvesting and hand smelting our resources. We used conveyor belts to stretch our production line across the world. Now it is time to revolutionize and change our entire base. So now comes the real work, dismantling our current plants and rebuilding our supply chains from the ground up. Let's fucking go. Our smelting operations will feed directly to our PLS. Our PLS will feed our entire planet with their demands. We must put logistics ships into a PLS so that they can ship 25 of a resource at a time to other PLSs that demand that resource. PLSs demand a ton of power, so it's time to consume more continents to our wind farm. Soon we will not be able to supply our planet with enough power from wind turbines. We will have to think of something new. Here I am, with all the basic buildings automated, but we have to step it up and use our PLS system to automate yellow science, which takes titanium and lots of plastic. So here is the start of yellow science. It takes a lot of oil to produce the plastic, organic crystals, and titanium crystals. But the result will drive us towards the ILS, the Interplanetary Logistics System, which is a good thing. I'm getting tired of flying to our other planet for silicon and titanium every 15 minutes. Luckily, building the ILS is not that much more complicated. We have to supply some strong titanium with sulfuric acid, and then the PLS, and we have it built. The ships that go into it are just some advanced thrusters that we can already build. Alright, let's get the ILS set up on our titanium and silicon planet. About here should do it. As you can see, the ILS is a power-hungry monster. Our wind farms on this planet are not cutting it, but it's the best I have right now. And here we go. Yes! Finally, we have achieved an interplanetary logistics system, shipping titanium and silicon back to our home factory. This will save me so much time flying from planet to planet. The time has come to destroy the dark fog on our home planet. To do this, I am going to set up some missile turrets to obliterate the dark fog relay and its ground forces. I have supersonic missiles researched, which is double the damage of normal missiles. I set up a blueprint to deploy 3 missile turrets that get fed ammo from a depot. Let's obliterate this dark fog base. When the dark fog planetary base is destroyed, it leaves behind a pool of lava that can be extracted to give a lot of power, probably equivalent to 100 wind farms. It is amazing. There we go. Yes, this is awesome. Thank you, Dark Fog. This power will fuel our purple science cubes, otherwise known as information science. Information science requires a lot of infrastructure. It needs particle bandwidth, which requires a lot of processors. It is heavy on silicon demand. Good thing we set up an amazing mining operation on our mining world outpost. But I want our operations to become a lot more efficient. So I start producing Proliferator. It is a resource you can spray on other items to make them produce more product. This Proliferator Mark II will increase item productivity of each item by 20%. Back at our information science expansion, I start laying down PLSs and using that Proliferator to produce the massive amount of processors and particle bandwidth we will need for the purple cubes. One PLS supplies the production of the items, while another PLS supplies the output of that production. This makes sure that our supply line draws from the entire planet and feeds itself. And here we are, purple science cubes. I mean information science. Green science is more of the same principle. You use your PLSs to make gravimetric lens and quantum chips. It takes a bigger factory, but you are doing it the same way as the purple science. However, green science will allow us to produce Warper, which really opens the game for rare resources and maximizing your supply chain. Warper will allow us to visit other solar systems by increasing our speed to faster than light. Here we go! This is so fucking cool. Traveling between stars. We are heading to a planet that will supply us with an ocean of sulfuric acid. That will greatly simplify our titanium processing supply lines if we can pump that out and ship it across the stars. First things first, we need power to supply our ILS and sulfuric pumping operations. Then we set up the ILS and the pumps to get the sulfuric acid. Back at home, we set up an ILS to demand the sulfuric acid. We have to supply it with warpers so that the ILS ships can get to the planet. And there we are, sulfuric acid delivered for free from a distant planet. This is going to save us so much stone and oil and chemical plants. The universe provides. But the universe is going to need to provide a lot more. We need a heavy supply of deuterium. This is an abundant gas on certain gas giant planets. To harvest them, we need orbital collectors. So, it is time to warp to a distant star system with a gas giant that allows deuterium to be harvested. We will place the orbital collectors there. The orbital collectors can only be placed on the equator of the planet. This can be a bit tricky since the planet is so massive and gets very dark usually. I place a bunch of them down since the deuterium demand is so high for green science and making Dyson Sphere rockets to build the Dyson Sphere. That's right, it is time to build the Dyson Sphere finally. First, we will need to improve our power generation. Wind farms are no longer enough. We need some fusion power from all that deuterium we are harvesting. Second, we need a lot of launch sites for our rockets to reach the sun. Let's make a cool looking launch area. That should do it. Now to design the Dyson Sphere, I am going to go with a simple set of rotating rings around the sun. I want to have 2 rings. This is the first one. They will provide us with critical photons needed to build the last research for victory, the universal matrix. And there we go. Our first rockets are away to start building the first ring. This feels awesome. Here you can see that the rockets are building the first ring, piece by piece. But I will also need to fill up our Dyson Sphere with solar sails. Those are launched by giant electromagnetic rail cannons. We need a launch site for those. Time to make the whole process of building faster by doubling up on the rockets. This required me to expand our factory a bunch for extra processors for the quantum chips. We are making great progress, but there is something I don't like. That dark fog hive in the background needs to go. Let's take the fight to them and wipe them off the solar system once and for all. But before we do, just look at this planet factory. We have come so far. Everything is working together so smoothly, and it looks so cool while it's happening. This shot of the Dyson Sphere being built above the planet looks amazing. Wow. Imagine looking up in our sky and seeing such an astronomical power generator. Alright, back to the dark fog problem. I researched destroyers and corvettes, so I can have space forces to take the fight to them. I grab all the energy weapon research so our ships can do more damage to them. I set up a factory to churn out hundreds of these ships. You might think this is overkill for one hive, but the space hives will take all of this to defeat. They are very tough compared to the ground bases, but in order to stand a chance against the space hive, we must first cut off its resources from the ground bases so that it cannot build more spaceships. On our silicon and titanium planet, the dark fog has many bases, so this is like a planet-wide war. But I produce thousands of missiles for this. They go down. Alright, time for the final confrontation with the dark fog, the space hive. I have hundreds of corvettes and destroyers produced for this. We will have to enter a tactical mode by pressing the Z key. Then we can direct our forces to go near the hive and provoke them. If I were to go near it, their laser towers would annihilate me in one hit. From here, as long as we have the right number of ships and some decent research, we will whittle down the space hive until it runs out of resources. This takes quite some time. This is at 2,000% speed. Each time one of my ships is destroyed, another is sent out to replace it automatically. Finally, we have annihilated the dark fog fleet. My ships chunk away at the base until it is all destroyed. The solar system is ours. Victory at last. Let's celebrate our victory by building our final ring on the Dyson Sphere. I changed the orbit so that it is rotating vertically and behind the first ring. This is gonna look awesome. We launch volley after volley of rockets to build this even faster than the first ring. The Dyson Sphere can either send power or critical photons to your planet. We use those critical photons to make antimatter. That is used to make the final science in the game for the victory research. Let's go check out the last ring being made. The EM rails are firing and they look so cool launching the Dyson swarm. Wow, that is awesome. It makes me simultaneously feel big and small at the same time. Big for what I built, small because of the size of my Icarus compared to the Dyson Sphere. And there she is completed. 2 rings of enormous proportion, sending down critical photons to our planet for antimatter production. It's beautiful. Well then, it's time to do our last research production, universal science. We have everything we need. It takes all of the sciences combined with antimatter to make it. This is it. Researching the last technology we need to win this huge game. And there we have it. Mission completed. Woohoo! It's been a long game with many factories built. We came from such humble beginnings of harvesting everything by hand. Then I slowly put myself out of the job by automating everything. But the game took me further, having me harvest from the planets outside our solar system to simplify resource chains. Then, harvesting the power of the sun to build exotic matter. We even defeated our pain in the ass dark fog. What a great game. Well, that is it for Dyson Sphere. I hope you have seen how much fun the game can be. I will see you all on the next one.